The relationship that people have with their governments today is pretty toxic. I've seen posts on social media associating it to being in a relationship with a narcissist. And I mean, it makes sense. They do whatever they can to convince people that they're better at everything than we are. And if you question them on anything they do, they resort to gaslighting you, trying to make you second guess yourself. And if you don't comply with whatever they say you have to do, they go to your friends, your coworkers, sometimes even your families, just to demonize you, because they're trying to get you to be isolated. So eventually, the only relationship that you can trust will always be there is the one that you have with them. Now, I know you don't fall for that, but I bring it up because as dysfunctional as that is, you need to know that the victims of narcissism, they're just as dysfunctional. Now, hear me out. I'm not passing blame. It's just that narcissists, they target people who, typically speaking, they don't think very highly of themselves. They don't see themselves as worthy of something amazing, so they gravitate towards people who are confident and charismatic. And again, there's no blame. It's even easy to think that they would be the best option to take care of complex systems, like city planning and law enforcement, banking regulations. Very few people actually know how to do those things. And out of that demographic, there's even fewer that actually do any of them well. So when someone comes along and shows confidence and charisma and being able to manage these things, it's easy to think they must be the best ones for the job. And that in itself is not bad. We want the best people for the job in those positions. But the problem with narcissists is the more control they have, the more control they want. And the more governance they get, the less autonomy their victims have. And right now, this environment is super toxic. The victims are now losing a sense of their identity. And isn't it interesting that now they're coming out with a digital ID? It's just another one of those ways that they look to take ownership over people. And now we're at the point in the relationship where the tension is at an all-time high because people like us show up. People like you. We're exposing their lies. We're pointing out their corruption. We are the threat. Why do they think they called for an emergency act? Why did they trample on peaceful protesters? It wasn't because they had everything under control. It was because they wanted control back again. And we know where this leads. As it escalates, man, they're already threatening to deprive us of our basic needs. 18 months now, they've been holding supply issues over our heads. And now there's an energy crisis right around the corner. Anything they can think of just to get victims to beg for more solutions, for more governance, for more control. So, what's the solution? Well, there are a few of us here. We're called community advisors, and we're inspiring people to take their power back. Take the power back over education. We can't have people who treat us like this have responsibility over the development of our sons and daughters' minds. So what we're doing is we're showing people how to take over the school boards, to direct the changes that they want at that level. Now, in some communities, they prefer to do education pods, small groups that teachers can manage. Whatever fits, whatever community. Agriculture. Our world is so abundant. We don't need subsidies. We would have more than enough food. And we can produce our own textiles and even energy, fuel. And that's just a couple. Small businesses, we can support those. Healthcare, even public infrastructure. There are so many areas of our lives that we can have governance. And all we're doing here, what we're doing here on this page is we're inviting you to embark on this journey with us. Now, before I show you what that looks like, I want to just touch base on that relationship analogy again, because many of you have probably seen this in people that you know in an abusive relationship. They might even know they're in that kind of relationship, but they don't even leave because they have a hard time visualizing that a better relationship is possible. Because there's this certain, I don't know, this frame of mind, this paradigm that makes it hard for them to envision what a different relationship with their government would even look like. So here, we're inviting you to make a declaration, to commit to learning about how truly powerful you are and what that relationship with government needs to look like in order for you to live in an environment where you're free, where the Constitution isn't something the government wrote to set parameters on how people should conduct themselves. No, it's something the people write to set the terms and conditions of how the government is to be conducted by the people. So chances are someone has sent this to you. They shared it with you because they're pretty sure that you'd value this as well. And they made this declaration, and then they thought of you because they know that the best way out of this, the best way that we can save our food supply, or how we can have a society where bodily autonomy is honored, how we can secure a future for the next generation, have our unalienable rights upheld. The best chance we have at any of that is to be part of a community. And as this community grows, more people start communities of their own with the same mindset. And together we can all grow in self-governance over our lives. So simply enter your name and your email. You don't have to use your real name, it's fine. And on the next page, we're going to go over the first steps that you can take to build community now. And then start learning the paradigms that set you and your community free.